Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tim Shields here at our second Shield Sewing Live on the second Wednesday. And again, we had a great turnout last week. Thank you all for joining us and, sharing, commenting, and liking. We really reached a lot of different people in all parts of the area and actually the country. So thank you for that. Continue to do that. That's just going to support us a little bit more. As a lot of you know that we're here last week, we had a drawing. The big winner for the drawing was Kathy Brunson. So thank you, Kathy. And we know Kathy very well, and we will get you your thread set here very soon. I think Jan said she'll be able to swing it by. It kind of helps that you live on the way. So, excuse me. So again, thank you. Welcome to our Shield Sewing Live. This week, we are going to do a little demonstration on the scan and cuts. There are plenty of different cutting machines out there, and they all cut. That's pretty obvious. But we want to show you some things that maybe separate the Brother from the other cutting machines. The nice thing about the Brother scan and cut is it actually scans. So you don't have to have software. You don't have computers. You can actually create your own designs right in the machine. So, but we're really excited. Again, thank you so much for coming. Stay tuned. We will have a special deal on the scan and cuts at the very end. So stick around. And I will let Jan take it over. Jan is a scan and cut guru. I'll be honest, I have cut some things out of it. I've scanned some things out of it. I'm just not as, well versed in it. So I'm going to let Jan take over from here, and I will see you in a little bit. So thank you again. Enjoy the show.
Hi, everybody. So just a second here. I'm going to switch my camera over, and I need to get my second computer going so I can see the comments better. Just a second here. Get this up where I can see it, hopefully. Watch this live video. There we go. Just a second. Oh, now I can see the comments. Hi, everybody. Now I can see your comments. There we go. Okay. And I will turn off the banner. And I will switch the camera. So how is everybody this week? This is kind of fun to do. I get a kick out of doing these because then we can show you some other machines that I don't have at home. Now, this happens to be my scan and cut. So we're going to talk about the scan and cut. This is the SDX230D. And that's the one we're going to have the special on. Just give me a second here. I need to change my microphone as well. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so hopefully you're all hearing me okay. Send me some thumbs ups if you're hearing me okay. Should be. All right, so there's my scan and cut. And so like Tim said, the scan and cut, we know this machine cuts things out. We can cut stuff out. We can cut fabric with it. We can cut paper with it and so on. But what sets this machine apart from the other cutting machines is the fact that it can be completely self-standing. You really don't need any software to run this machine. There is free software that you get with it, and I will show you that at the end. And then also the fact that this machine scans, and the scanning ability is like a huge deal. And you can, everybody's hearing me okay? Awesome. So thanks, guys. Just a second. I'm just getting my little all my comments and everything up. Okay. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to focus on the scanning ability of this machine. And that's what I just love about this machine so much, is that I can scan with it. And then I don't really have to get the software out. I do use the software, and we will use a little bit of it this afternoon. I'll show you a little thing online with it, except I forgot to log in. So let me log in real quick to that while we're doing that. I forgot to log into my account, so I always forget something when I do these little things. You know that. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I always forget something. Last week it was the rulers that I forgot for Sew Along with Jan. So okay, get this. Okay, so I'm back in there. And okay, so now I'm all logged in, so I'll be able to show you that. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of the scanning abilities. Now, this machine comes with quite a lot of stuff. It comes with the standard auto. Oh, and the other thing that sets this apart is that this is an auto blade, so you don't have to set the numbers for the blade lengths anymore like we did on the older machine. So this has an auto blade on it. So this machine comes with the standard auto blade, and then there's a blade inside. That's the black topped one. And it comes with a thin fabric blade, which is this tan one, and a blade and a blade holder. Comes with actually the vinyl blade. So this is that light blue one. It's a vinyl blade and blade holder. It comes with some marking pens, some pens, and the pen holder. So here's the pen holder and the pens. So it comes with a nice set of those. And then this one also comes with a universal pen holder, so you can do more drawing with your own pens and pencils. And then also it comes with a starter set of rhinestones. It's like a rhinestone starter set. And then it also comes with a roll feeder. So this is actually a really nice package deal. This is the 230D. Okay. Rotary blade. This one does not come with the rotary blade, Lynn. This is the 230D, not the 330D. So the 330D is the new machine. This machine here, the 230D, we are allowed to sell this one online. So that's why we're showing this one, because it does come with a lot of nice stuff. The main difference between these machines and the new machines, this one does not have the wireless feature that talks directly to the Luminaire. And that's the only machine that it talks to right now is the Luminaire. So this one does not have that, but it is wireless to my software, because you can see the little wireless symbol up here. So this one is wireless, and it's on the router here, and then I can use my online software, and the machine will talk direct back and forth on the software. Okay, so that's the difference. So we're talking about the SDX230D. Okay. All right, so let's talk about, and then all of the machines, the SDX models have this, so we have the 225. There's also a 225. This is the 230D. Can I use the rotary blade? Yes, you can, Lynn. You can still use there is a new rotary blade. We'll talk about that on Sew Along with Jan probably in a month or so. That one can be used with this machine, yes. So there is a new rotary blade that came out last fall that I haven't had a chance to really play with, but we will talk about that one soon. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about scanning. So, we know we can cut with it. There's lots of patterns in this machine. This one is a Disney machine. So, of course, there's Mickey and Minnie, and there's some of the other Pixar film, designs in here as well. Okay, so these obviously are patterns that we can cut. There's basic patterns like squares and rectangles and all that. And there's some fun little things. I love these there's like a bunch of cute little frames and stuff down here, and some little boxes and some three-dimensional flowers. So those are all things that you can cut. So we all know that this can be cut. We can cut with this machine. But this is what makes it really stand out. This machine has a scanner in it. So then I can use this machine basically standalone. So often when I teach classes, I teach classes with just this machine as a standalone machine. Okay, so we don't use any software. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, I'm just going to go through the different scanning functions, the different kinds of scanning functions. And I'm just going to see the little button that says scan right here. We got the patterns, so we know those all cut there. And then we got scanning. So I'm going to hit the scanning button. And there's several ways to scan on this machine. Okay. The first one is called direct cut. And what direct cut means is I have these really cute little a little Mickey head and a little Mickey Mouse. Okay. And I printed these on a piece of cardstock. And I just thought they were really cute. And I would like to scan these and then cut these out directly out of this piece of paper. Okay, so I did that earlier so you can see what it looks like. So here's my little Mickey head. So maybe I wanted to put this on a card, on the outside of a card. Okay, so here's the bigger one. Okay, so these were all cut out directly from this piece of paper. So I just found some cute designs online and printed them on a piece of paper. Okay, you could also use like rubber stamps if you're a stamper. You could take your rubber stamps and stamp them on your paper and then cut around these. So this is how we do this with direct cut. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a mat. Now this machine comes with 3 mats. It comes with a low tack mat, a standard tack mat, and then it comes with the fabric mat. So I'm going to do my standard mat. Now I will tell you, this is my machine, so my mat is old, okay? And you can use mats for a very long time because they can be restuck. So this mat is a little gnarly looking, sorry about that, but I have restuck it, and it's nice and sticky again, and I can keep using it until, normally what I do is I keep using them until they like crack or break, get a big crack in the back or something, and then I will get a new mat. But I don't get new mats like every day. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my piece of paper on this sticky mat, and it doesn't matter if I have it straight or not. Let me pull this back so you can see what I'm doing. It's a little hard, I don't have tons of room. But the other little tool that I wanted to show you is my favorite tool. This is the Brayer. Now the Brayer is a good thing so that if you're having trouble getting something to stick to your mat, you can just roll this over it and it will stick it down to your mat. I just love this little Brayer. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that stays on like that. Okay, and then I'm going to load my mat. Now it's important with loading your mats not to bump them up against the rollers. Lay your hand in front of this roller right here, and then there's a button up here, right here, that I'm going to touch, and it's going to load my mat. But you want to kind of guide the mat in so that it stays level and flat. Okay. All right. So here's the direct cut button. I'm just going to click direct cut. I want to cut out of this piece of paper on my mat. Select a device to convert the scanned image to cutting data. I want it to be, a second here. I want it to go to the machine, and I'm going to do direct cut. I'm not going to use the software for this one, but you can use it. So in this case, I'm going to choose, you can choose either the black and white mode or the color mode. I chose black and white for this particular one because it's mostly black on the outside edges. And I felt when I did this yesterday, it actually picked up the outline of the design quite a lot better. So I used the black and white mode. So there's 2 modes. You touch the little wrench, black and white or color. Okay, and we'll use the color mode here in a little bit. So we're going to use black and white. And now to scan this in, I need to know, where those are. So I'm going to go ahead and click start. And it's going to tell you that there's a scanner lever needs to be in position 2. Well, there's a little lever on the left-hand side of the machine, and it needs to be up, in other words. So mine is up, and I'm just going to hit start. So it's going to scan in. I'll pull this back so you can kind of see it scan here. And it's scanning in those 2 little pictures that I printed off. And I just ran those through my regular printer. Okay. And look, they're on the screen. So this is pretty cool because, our machines, some of our machines do this too. And this is such a cool way to capture stuff. Okay. So here's Mickey, and I'm going to click OK. And when I get to this, now you can you see all this mess kind of around Mickey? My mat's old and it's got a lot of gunk on it. So this little screen allows me to crop closer to my little guys here. So I can cut out some of this mess along the outside edges. Okay, so I don't need that, but I can still see, and you probably can't see it on the screen too well, but there's a nice little black line all the way around Mickey and the Mickey head. Okay. Yeah, I know my screen, it's very hard to see the screen because of it's like a camera looking at a camera. I've always had trouble with like computer screens and a camera. So I apologize. It's not going to be super great. Okay, so here's our head and the little Mickey, and they're traced. There's like a black line around them. If I need to do a little work on them, these 2 buttons here will allow me. These 2 will allow me to do some work with the how dark it is. Also, like this ignore object will also ignore some of the mess sometimes. Also, this little button, and I did use this yesterday, you can smooth the outline a little bit, because like I noticed that it says smoothing is low. I'm going to smooth it just a little bit more so that my outlines are more curved and not so angular looking. Okay. So I use that little smoothing tool, and then I'm going to preview it. Okay, so I think that looks better. It's just a little, I can see it better than you can probably, but it is just a little smoother around my designs. So I'm going to click OK. And I don't always have to do that. It depends on the design I'm doing. And I'm going to click OK one more time. Now this screen is the cool screen. There's a couple different things we can do. So let's say we want to put a square or a circle around these. We can change the type of outline around our Mickeys. Okay. I liked the little one that we had before because it actually goes around the actual form of the design that's there. So they give you some other options. So you can use like a hexagon or that, yeah, hexagon, and you can use, oh, like here's a little, like a little frame that's real cute with the little scrolls around it. So there's all these different options, but the first one was the one that is default. That's the one that actually goes around the little design. So I'm going to click OK. I think I'm happy with that. But then this button here, let me get my little, it also comes with a stylus. So here's the little stylus. And this button here allows me to move that outline away from, right now it's defaulted at right on top of my design, but I'd like to leave a little edge around it. So I'm going to go out just a little bit, maybe there. It's about 1/4 of an inch. It's not quite 1/4 of an inch, maybe about 1/8 of an inch around the outside edge. Can you see how I did that? So I decided I'd like to have a little white showing around my Mickeys. Okay, so that's the outline distance button, which is right here. Okay, so I just made it a little bit more, and you can make that any distance you'd like. If I need to do any other editing, I can also click the edit button, and I can do a little bit of editing in here as well. Okay, so now I have my Mickeys scanned. They're on this piece of paper that's right here. I have my outline extended out past the Mickeys so that I'll have a little white space around it, and I'm going to click OK. And now if you look here on the screen, I'll get a little closer, hopefully, you can see that all you can see now is just the outlines, because that's what's going to cut. I haven't moved anything, so everything's going to cut out around my Mickey and my Mickey head. So now all I need to do is I need to tell the machine what I want to do. So I want to, in this case, I want to cut. So someday we'll have a little class and we'll talk about drawing. You can do foiling, you can do embossing. There's all kinds of things you can do with this machine. You can make rhinestone templates. You can do paper piercing. There's just tons of different things. You can do calligraphy. So there's lots of different things you can do with it. But I want it to cut. Okay, so I told it I'm going to cut. And it tells me that it takes about a minute. The auto pressure is on because I have my auto blade in. So my auto blade, which is the black one. Okay, I have that in, and I don't have to set my own blade. It's going to help me with that. And the speed is 3. So I like to turn it down to about 3. I do not want a half cut. What half cut is, it means that it's going to cut partially through the paper, but I would like this to cut all the way through the paper. So we're not going to turn that on. I leave that off. Now, if you want to test, you click the test button. I'm fairly sure this is going to cut okay, because I've done some of these before. So I'm pretty sure it's going to cut. So I don't need to think I'm going to test. I'm just going to go for it and click start. So I'm going to hit the start button, and I'm going to bring this back so you can watch it, because what it's going to do is cut. Okay, so here's my little Mickeys, and it's adjusting the blade right now, and then it's going to cut. I just love doing direct cut. It's so fun. And like if you're a stamper and you want to do rubber stamps, this is a really good way to cut out your rubber stamps. So, but I just picked out some cute things up that I found pictures of and just printed them. And since it's a Disney machine, you know, we had to do Mickey Mouse. Okay, so it's done cutting. Let's see how we did. Okay, so let me push this down a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up a little bit and kind of separate this from the mat, because it should come up. And the trick is when you get brand new machines, the mats are very sticky. So I usually like to get them, I like to put them against my clothes and get a little cat hair and stuff on them, because then they're not quite so sticky. But this one had been restuck, and I kind of did that a little bit so it wasn't too sticky. All right, so I'm just going to eject this. Oops, maybe. And I like to try to, I kind of turn my mat over upside down, and then I kind of pull it back, and then it's easier to get the little figures off. There we go. So you don't rip anything. There we go. This is the easiest way for me to get them off, is turn it upside down like that. So then, let's put this over here for a second. And look, there's our direct cut, and there's our little Mickey. Isn't he beautiful? And it's got a little rim around him, and here's the little head. Isn't that cute? So that's direct cut. So that's one of the scanning features of this machine. So you can take your items like this that you want that are printed or stamped, and you can cut them out. You can use this with fabric, like if you have some cute fabric that has cute things on it. I mean, isn't it cool how that works? And then you can just leave a little outline around it. You could cut it right up to it too if you wanted to. I often leave just a little outline, just gives it a little pizzazz. Okay, so there's the direct cut method. So that's one of the scanning methods on this machine. All right, now let's say that we have an applique that we want to do. We're going to cut a little fabric now. So let's do another one. I'm going to click OK, and I'm finished with this. So I'm going to, now if you want to save it in the machine, I'm going to go back and click OK. If I want to save it in the machine, I can actually save these in here by hitting edit. I think it's the saving buttons in here. Do I have to go back two screens maybe? I can save this in the machine if I want to. Okay, those that I just did. Okay, so actually, you know, you can't, not with direct cut. You can with the other ones, but not direct cut, because you have to have the piece of paper. So it doesn't allow you to save those, because it's a new one every time, because you know your design is going to be different every time. This one will allow me to save it, that I'm doing right now. Okay, so we did direct cut. That's one of the ways. The second way to scan and to use this machine is to scan to cut data. So this one's going to allow me to save it, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan something, and then I'm going to save that and cut it out of something else. Okay, so if you, let's say we have an applique, which I do. This is my applique. This was a little design I did years ago with a little star. It was like it said little superstar or something. So that was a little applique for a baby onesie, and this was the applique in the center of it. And give me a second here. I'm looking for another mat. We've got lots of mats here. Okay, now this mat doesn't come with the machine, but it's a really cool mat to have. So let's say you have some delicate, maybe an applique pattern that you purchase, and you don't want to take the chance of it getting stuck to your mat. Well, that's happened to me before, so I love this scanning mat. So the scanning mat has no stickum on it, and it has this little flip that goes up, okay, and then you can put your pattern underneath that. So the pattern, get this. This is my pattern. So I had printed this out on a piece of paper. There's other ways to do this, but I'm going to show you this way this time, and we'll talk about other ways to make applique patterns, okay, some other time. So this one is my little pattern that I made for my applique, and I'm just going to slip this underneath the scanning mat top page here, like that. And then we're going to load this one into the machine. Again, I'm going to bump this up to the wheels. I'm going to guide it in with my hand so that it stays flat. Okay. And then let's go back to this one also. I'm going to leave it on black and white mode. Since this is a black and white picture, it was just a black and white line. So I'm going to leave it on the black and white mode, and I'm going to hit start. So now it's going to, and hit start again, and then it's going to scan my little applique. Now this piece, when I digitize appliques, I make the applique So you do not have to change the size of it at all. This one is the exact size because I inset my satin stitches. So this one was done. So you do not have to change the size. Sometimes you have to change the size. Okay, so it's thinking. And here's that little star that I just scanned. Okay. Now this one is just a picture right now, and I want to make an outline that's going to be a cut file. Okay. So I want this, since it's an applique, I just needed to trace around the outside edge of the star, and I'm going to click the first button. So if I go back, this will just go around the outside edge. The second button will scan inside and outside. So if I had stuff inside the star that needed to be scanned, then I would use the second button. And then the third button is actually an intersection. So it scans the intersection, which I haven't figured out why I'd use that yet. And so I'll see if I can figure something out with that. But we're going to use the first one today, which is just the outline. Now, again, I've got kind of a little mess down here, as you can see. My mats, it caught the edge of my fabric or my paper. So I'm going to go ahead and again, I'm going to crop that closer to my little star to possibly crop out any junk that scanned. This is a very good scanner. So sometimes you get stuff that you don't want to scan. So I'm going to go ahead and crop that up. I think I'm pretty happy with it. It doesn't need to be smooth because this has got straight lines. So I'm going to go ahead and hit preview. And I think I'm pretty happy with that. It looks good. And then I'm going to click OK. Now this is the one that lets me save. So I'm sorry that I told you wrong the last time. This one lets me save. The other one we can't because we're cutting off the piece of paper. Like when I put this one back on, I'd have to scan it again and do direct cut to get it to cut off of this piece of paper. But this one, we're going to save the design in the machine or on a stick so that I can cut it out of multiple different things. Okay. So in this case, it gives you 3 choices of saving. You can save it in the machine. You can save it back to the software, and we'll do that in a little bit. And then you could also save it to a USB stick. And I also have a USB stick in my machine. So that's the other option. So I'm just going to save this one in my machine. I just clicked the machine. Okay, and I'm going to hit the unload button. Whoops, maybe won't let me do that while it's saving. Okay, so then you want to kind of make note of this number here. It's number 25. So I'm going to click OK. Now I can eject my mat. And this one, second here, I want to cut this one out of fabric. So this is was my little applique. So I already cut one out yesterday. So this is my little piece of my little star that I cut out. And I'm going to cut that one out of fabric. So let's talk just a little bit about fabric. I cut some little pieces of fabric, and then you need to prepare for applique. Generally, you're going to use some sort of a bonding agent on the back of the fabric. In this case, it is Heat and Bond Light, because I am going to sew through this one. Heat and Bond Light is so far been the best applique material or applique bonding agent that I have found. It works the best for me. If I'm going to make it permanent bond, that I'm not going to sew through it, I use Heat and Bond Ultra. So I have some of that here. I have some of the packages here. So this is Heat and Bond Light. Okay, this is the one you would sew through. And then if you want it permanent bond without sewing, this one's called Heat and Bond Ultra. Okay, so this is the Ultra Hold, and that one is permanent bond. Okay, that one you do not sew through. Okay. So that's what's on the back of this fabric. So I've already pre-done that. I leave the paper on. You can kind of see it's the papery stuff on the back. Okay, and then we'll pull that off when we go to use it for the applique, the actual applique. All right, now I need another mat. So I'm going to have to stand up a second here. Okay, so the other mat that comes with this machine is one of the new high-tack fabric mats. I'm so glad they finally have a fabric mat. You don't have to use those little, it says fabric mat down here. You don't have to use those little plastic sheets anymore and keep replacing them. So this one is super sticky. Warning to everyone, do not get any piece of paper near this mat, because if you do, it will never come off, okay? So this is a super, super sticky mat. So I'm going to take the plastic off of it. I'm going to find my piece of fabric. So I'm going to show you another scanning method here. I'm going to take my fabric, and this is the deal when I cut fabric. I like to cut fabric with the fabric down on the mat, with the heat and bond up. So I'm going to just stick this any old place on this mat. Doesn't matter where. Okay, and I've got it stuck down. Okay, so here's my little piece of fabric. Just stuck it on the mat, and I'm going to go ahead and load this mat like we've been doing. So here's my load button up here. Now this one's a little sticky, so you have to kind of watch your fingers a little bit because they get stuck on this one. Okay, so I'm done with this part, and remember we saved this in the machine. So I'm just going to hit the little house button to get me back to the beginning. And now I need to find my little star. Okay, so my little star, I have to retrieve it. So the retrieve data button is down here. So these are the regular patterns that are built in. This is where you retrieve the ones that you make yourself. So I'm going to hit retrieve. And remember we sent it, we did it in the machine. We saved it in the machine. So I'm going to hit the machine button. And, oh, I got a whole bunch of the stuff in here. So we'll go down. I know it's at the end, so we'll go down here. I use my machine quite a bit, so there's always stuff saved in here. Okay, let's see. Oh, there he is. There he is. This is the one we just did. Okay, so here's the little star. So I'm just going to click on that and bring it up on my screen. So this is the actual cut design. This is not the scan that we just did. This is the cut file. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. And since I am cutting my fabric down, back on the back is up, so I'm face down on the mat. I need to, this is nearly symmetrical, but not quite. Okay. So normally when I do these, I have to mirror them since I'm cutting from the back, or in other words, I'm cutting it face down. So to mirror this, I'm going to select it by turning it red. Okay. I just touched it. And then I'm going to go to edit, object edit. And this button here allows me to change the size. This one allows me to add more stars. So if I wanted to have a whole bunch of stars, I could do that. This one allows me to rotate. But then this one here allows me to mirror. See the two little arrows? So if I click that, it's going to flip it over so that it is now this direction, because I'm going to cut this face down. Okay. So I'm going to click OK. So I did a little editing, so you can kind of see how you can edit with it. This machine also allows you to do some welding and some aligning. There's lots of different things in that editing function. Okay. I'm going to hit OK one more time. And now this is another way that you can scan. This, since I don't know exactly, you know, the design is kind of down here in the center of the screen. Can you see that right there? Well, that's not really where my fabric is it? So I can do fussy cutting with this machine because right now I can scan again. Here's the scanning button. I'm going to click that scanning button and click start. And now what it's going to do is it's going to scan what is on my mat so that I can, whoops, almost had something else on the floor, but I think we made it. Okay, so now it's going to show me up on the screen what's on the mat. And can you see the little piece of fabric there? See that little piece of fabric? And then see my design's down here, so obviously it won't cut on the fabric. But if I take my little design and I pull it up and center it on that fabric piece, that since I know that's where it is, see, now it's going to cut on my fabric. So that's another scanning feature of this. We can fussy cut. We can get things to cut exactly where we want it to cut. Okay. And like let's say I wanted to have stars and trees and flowers all on the same mat. I could put my fabric down all over the mat and then bring the designs in. And then I could cut a whole bunch of stuff at the same time by just dropping, you know, scanning them in and then dropping the designs to the right fabrics. Okay. All right. So we got this up here. Now there's one other thing that I'm going to do for this one. Now, this doesn't come with the machine, but this is something I recommend to people. You know, most of us are sewers as well, and we have fabric scissors, right? So we have scissors we only use for fabric, and then we lock them up so that nobody else can use them on pieces of paper. Well, this blade is a standard auto blade, the one with the black lid, and then it's got the blade in there. This is also a standard blade, but you notice that I just wrote the letter F on it. What that means is I have bought another blade and another blade holder, and this is the one that I only use for fabric. So when I'm cutting my fabric, this is the blade I put in my machine, even though it's exactly the same as this one. This is the one I use for paper and vinyl and, you know, anything else that I'm heat transfer vinyl, anything I'm cutting, I use this one for. But then this one I use for my fabric only. Okay. So I've always found that this then stays sharp for a very, very long time because it only gets used for fabric. Okay. So I'm going to put this one in. So it's exactly the same as the other one, but it's just my fabric blade. All right. So now we got this mirrored. We have it up on the screen where we want it on our fabric. I'm going to click OK. I have changed my blade and I'm going to tell it to cut. Okay. And again, it's going to take about a minute. It's auto pressure. I'm just going to let the auto blade do that, take care of that blade setting for me. The speed is 3 and the half cut is off. Again, you can test if you would like. I'm fairly sure that this is going to cut just fine because I have really good results with cutting fabric. The trick with cutting fabric with this machine is that it is well stuck down. So this has stuck to this mat. It's very, very sticky. Okay, and that's very important. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hit start, and I'm going to let you watch it cut. So it's going to adjust the blade. Has to think for a little bit, then it's going to cut. And I cut quite a lot of fabric, and it does do an excellent job of cutting fabric. I think this machine cuts fabric. I have had other machines, and this one by far cuts fabric better. So now I've got my other little tool. This comes with the machine. It's a little spatula. And sometimes with this real sticky mat, it's easier to push underneath the fabric and pull up the big piece. So there's our little star. And I'm just going to go under this little point so I can get it off here. Whoops, maybe. Let's try this one. There we go. Okay, so there's my little star. Ready for my applique design. And this was a little design I did. The heat and bond has to be stuck good too. That is correct, Margaret. The thing with heat and bond light, when you're using it, the heat and bond is the best bonding agent that I've found. And I have tried a lot of different ones, but this one actually, these really melt into the fabric. They really bond into the fibers of the fabric, unlike some of the other ones that kind of like stick to the surface, and then it'll actually pull the bonding agent off. So this really adheres to the fabric, in the fibers of the fabric. Okay, so there's our little star. What do you think of that? So that's another way. We scanned 2 different ways. We did, the scanning at the beginning to make the little design to cut this out. And then we also scanned in the middle so that we knew where to put the design. So there's more scanning abilities that this machine has. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to eject this mat. Now this mat, I'm also very careful. As soon as I eject it, I put the clear plastic piece on the top because, like I said, it is super sticky, and whatever it touches, it's going to be stuck to it. Okay. All right, so I'll put this back over here. All right, so let's talk about another scanning function. Okay, this one also, did you know that this machine is a large scanner? So like we have printers, right, that have scanners on them, and they're like, what, 8.5 by 11 most of the time. This machine will scan 12 by 24. So let's say you have a large photograph or a large document that you would like to scan in to keep a digital copy of it. You can just scan with this. So let me it's very simple. I got a picture here. I'm just going to grab my scanning mat again. Give me a second to grab that. And let's say I have this picture. This is my parents, my mom and dad. Okay. And I want to have a digital copy of this photograph. Okay. And I'm just going to put it in my scanning mat. That one that didn't have any sticky on it. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load this into the machine. I'm going to hit the house button and go back to the beginning. And I'm going to load this in the machine. And I have used this many times when I've had large, like, a piece of a pattern that I needed to cut out and I didn't want to ruin my pattern. I scanned it on the great big long mat, because you can get a 12 by 24 mat, and I put it on there to scan it, and then I could scan it in as just an image. Okay, so this is a really great way to do this. So I'm going to hit scan again, and I'm going to scan to USB. So if I click on that, and it's going to go to my USB that's over here on the side of my machine over here. I'm just going to click start and start again. And it's just going to make a JPEG image. Yeah, isn't that a good picture on my folks? That was I think it was probably a church directory picture of them. So it's right now it's just scanning that picture and we'll make it into a JPEG. So it takes a little longer to do. This is an excellent scanner. So it actually is almost better than my printer. So there's times when I just use this instead of the printer. So it really is a versatile machine. I mean, you can use it for a lot of things. Okay. So then I know I love the scan feature. So I'm always needing something big that won't fit on my scanner. So it says save to USB. Okay. So if you give me a second, I can actually share my screen with you real quickly. And I can show you where it put it on my stick. Okay. So give me a second here. And I'm just going to click the share the screen. Okay. Give me a second. Get rid of that. Okay. So in a second, you should be able to see my stick. So my stick just opened up here on my computer screen. Hopefully you can see that. Yep, you can see that now. And then it goes into a little folder, just so you know. It makes a little folder on the stick that says image, IMG. So it's in there. And then here is that image of my parents. And, you know, granted, I might need to do some cropping. So like I've got, you know, this little program in here that I can go in and I can crop that and fix up that picture the way I want it. But there is the little picture of my parents that I just scanned with my machine. And I did the little Mickey yesterday. So here he is too. He's in there too. So I did Mickey yesterday. Okay. So it's just a scanner. So isn't that awesome that you have a very large flatbed scanner? It's 12 by 24. Okay. So that's another way you can use the scanning ability of this. Okay, so there's one last one that I want to show you that I use quite a lot. Unload this one. And we're going to put another little guy. I've got a little penguin guy here. He's really cute. So we're going to put this little penguin in here. I got to move my camera back. So give me a second. I'm just going to stop the sharing. And I'm going to go back to my camera. Okay, so you should be able to see my camera. My question is, once you cut out the applique piece, can you put that shape in your embroidery machine and stitch around it on your embroidery machine? Tammy, yes, you can. I have 2 videos about cutting fabric and making appliques on YouTube. And yes, you can, because you can make the cut files right from your PES file. Okay, so that's going to be another class that we'll talk about that some other day. But yes, you can, because I make most of my cut files directly from my PES sewing files. So the answer to your question is yes, but I will have to show you how to do that. It's not hard. It's very easy, actually. Okay, so here is my little design that I'm going to do here. Okay, here's this little guy. Okay, now this is another way we can scan, and I use this function quite often. I have a designer that does raw edge applique that is permanent bond. So I do a lot of her designs, and her designs are all hand drawn. So I often then, when I go to scan my images that I'm going to be doing, I have a little trouble with them being double. Like it scans on the inside and the outside of the lines. And so then I might have like duplicate cutting lines. Okay. So I use this method, which is the other scanning, another scanning method, to take care of that. It's very hard, the screen's not very big up here, right? So when we go to do some cleanup on designs, and you can clean up right in the machine. So it is pretty much self-supporting. You don't have to use software. But it is a little harder on this little screen to see what you're doing. So I often do this method. So I'm going to show you what I do is I still use scan to cut data. Okay. So I'm going to scan this little penguin. And did you notice that he has several colors in him? He has black and white and the orange for his little nose. Okay. So we're going to use the color method for this one. Since this one has color in it, we're going to use the color method, and I'm going to use color and click OK. All right. So here is, I've changed that for the scan, and I'm going to click scan. So we're going to scan the little penguin. Oops, and hit start. Sorry, guys. So we're going to scan him in. And the software comes free with the machine. It's called Canvas Workspace, and it's a free program that comes with the design. So this is how I do this. So I'm going to go ahead and crop him, like we have before, to get some of the other gunk out from around him. Okay. And then I'm going to click OK. Let him think. And then this one, I want it to not only trace the outside edge, I want it to trace everything. So I'm going to choose the second button, which is the inside and the outside. So it's going to trace, around the little white part and around his little nose and eyes and everything in there. Okay, so I want the whole thing traced. So I chose that one. I'm going to click OK. And this one didn't need to be rounded because it was fairly round. But when I remember this screen where we saved it before to the machine, I don't want to save it to the machine. In this case, I might need to do some fixing. So I want to save it. I could also save it to my USB, but I'm going to save it back wirelessly. Remember, I've got this machine set up on my wireless. And then when you get your account with Canvas Workspace, it connects this machine to your software. So I'm going to send this back to my software. So I'm going to click this one because it's actually going to send that design because it's actually traced. Okay. What I found is this machine, I think, traces better than the software does. So I do most of my tracing in the machine. It's an excellent scanner. And so I do most of the tracing in the machine, and then I fix it in the software. So see, it says save successful. I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to switch back over here. I'm going to share my screen again. So let me get to the share the screen. Okay. I love being able to do this because then I can show you some of the software stuff. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to, whoops, I have to just go to the other tab here just a second. Thought I had it up here. A second. Technical difficulties, guys. Okay, here's Canvas Workspace. Okay. So Canvas Workspace is canvasworkspace.brother.com. So I have logged in. And then that design that I just sent, if I click new, like I'm going to create a new design. It takes a second. It's a little slow. Okay. Then on the left-hand side here is a little thing that says My Projects. So I'm going to click My Projects. And look, there is the little penguin. He's right here. And if I click on him, it's going to bring him over onto my workspace. So see, now you can see there's some pieces there. And, I couldn't really see it on the screen because it was kind of small. So look, I've got a couple of little odd pieces there that maybe aren't quite the way I want them. So there's the outline, that looks good. But I noticed that there's some weirdo little pieces here, like there's an extra piece, and that would double cut. And here's another one. Yeah, and I don't want that on there. And I think there might be one here too. That was going to double cut. So let's see. Oh, there, he's good there. So there's the inside of him. So see, sometimes it does that with different things. And like these two little pieces here, I don't want those, but I do want his eyeballs. So we'll bring his eyeballs up there. And see, then I'm doing this in the software. So then I can see it a little bit better. You know, it's a little bit bigger. And you know, you've got a mouse, and it's just a little easier to do some of this cleanup on the computer. So that's another way that we could use the scanning function. So I can use this with software. And then see, I didn't want these pieces. Those are pieces I don't want. So I'm just going to get rid of those. I'm going to delete them. And then here's my little guy, and he's all ready to cut. And he's going to be a layered piece. So like one piece of him, this part would be cut. Maybe I might do this in vinyl, or I could do an applique. So the back part would be black. You know, the center part, his little tummy is white. And then I do little black eyeballs and an orange nose. Okay, so that's the way that I can get my scanning from my machine directly to my software. And I just that's one feature I've used a lot. And I'll bring up real quickly, I'll show you some of those bigger pieces that I did of this other gal's, and they're real large pieces. And I have one that I'm working on. It's a Mustang. It's horses, and it'll say it's going to exceed that, but you'll be able to see part of it. But here's some of the pieces of that. I'll pull it over here so you can see it. And those, but when those scanned, they all kind of scanned double, because I had it was a hand-drawn design, and it was it wanted to scan like the inside of the lines and the outside, because there might have been a break here and there. And that's how I fix them and clean them up, is bring them into the software. And then I can see what I'm doing on the screen a little bit better than the small screen of the scan and cut. Okay, so that's another scanning method. So there's a lot of ways we can use this for scanning. And I think that's what really sets this machine apart from any of the other cutting machines, because the other cutting machines do not scan like this one does. All right, so I'm going to stop the screen sharing. Give me just a second here to go back to here. Okay, so there's our machine again. I think hopefully Tim's available now. I think we're going to tell you how much this wonderful machine is. And all the stuff, we're going to show you all the stuff that comes with it. I'm not sure if he's got a customer though. Just a second. I heard somebody out here a minute ago. Are you ready?
I can be.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about how much this. Let me get my camera turned around here. I think I'll do this camera because it'll be easier for you. And we're going to talk about how much this machine is, and also what you get with it. Let me get the microphone switched over. Maybe. Okay.
Pull this a little closer so you can see.
All right, I'm back. I hope I'm sure everybody got some great information out of Jan's demo again today. There's so much more that this machine can do, but we're kind of limited on time. But we are doing a little special. Excuse me. So for the SDX230F, I only have one more left. There's one left. We do have it marked down to $599. And what we're going to do for this week's special is we're going to throw in a little tote. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a nice little carrying tote that way you can put your scan and cut in something to protect it from the dust and things like that. Also, your mats can be protected a little better too. The SDX230D, we do have 4 of those, I believe, left. We are again going to throw in the tote with that, and those are $899, so $900. So again, just a little something extra we can throw in there. We can again ship it for free. If you're not in the area, you're certainly welcome to come in and pick it up. And one other thing I just wanted to mention to everybody, I know a lot of you are our loyal customers, and I really, really greatly appreciate it. To those of you that aren't, that might be a little further away, really try to support your local dealers. I mean, during this time, it's really important to support all of our local businesses, not just sewing machines, but restaurants if you can, and things like that, because we're all dealing with this kind of difficult time, and we can all use a little bit of help. So if you watch this video and you learn something and you have a local dealer, go ask them. I mean, as much as I want you to buy everything from me, I understand that's not necessarily possible. So, continue to support your local businesses. That's really, really key to keeping, America going. But if you have any questions, by all means, let us know. If you want to order one of these, like I said, they are running out. They are going to discontinue them. So what we have is kind of is all we're going to get. They are coming out with a new one. That one is unable to be sold online. But it does have a few more extra goodies with it. So,
and I think Jan asked what the newest one is, and it is the 330D and the 325.
Yep, 330D and 325.
So the difference between those two is one has Disney and one does not.
Correct.
But that one also adds a design, like a applique feature to the Luminaire.
So it's very much kind of tied with the Luminaire. So if you do have the Luminaire, that's a really, really nice way to go, because they will talk to one another. But again, we will throw the
and this one has the 230D, also has the roll
correct
feeder.
I was just about to get to that. So with the 230D, it does come with the roll feeder. So those are coming with the new machines now, so it's kind of nice. I think if you have to buy them separate, they're around
$70,
something like that. So with the Disney ones, they do come with it too. So we'll box that up too. So yeah, but again, by all means, call us if you have questions. You can go straight to our website. It ships for free. And come back next week. We will be doing sewing machine. You might get to see my mug a little bit more. I'm going to show you a couple little tricks on maintaining the machine a little bit, and might be using some different feet. So. But yes, come see us next week. And again, thank you for joining us. We do appreciate you liking, sharing, commenting. And we love seeing you guys every week, and we'll do it again next week. Like I said,
and we're going to do the Presto, right?
Yep, the baby lock Presto. So
we're going to do next.
We're going to do a couple little things on that. So again, my wife gave me a hard time last week, so I'm going to keep going. We'll be here next week, same bat time, same bat channel. So see you then. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Stay warm.
Stay warm.
I got a phone call already.